Hello Group 1, welcome to reading. First, let's take a look at the identity you are currently shedding. We have Two of Cups and the Emperor, with the Four of Cups as the underlying energy. Right away, what I'm feeling here is that in any kind of relationship, whether it's family, friendship, or romantic, you tend to be the one who takes responsibility for the connection. And the key here is, even if no one is asking you to do this, you just naturally step into that role. This can show up as you initiating plans, offering help, getting things done in advance, organizing everything, managing resources. You're always the proactive one. Even if you're not naturally outgoing, you're very warm, reliable, and deeply responsible. People feel safe with you. They depend on you. In their eyes, you are someone very important. But for you emotionally, something always feels slightly off. There's the underlying sense of dissatisfaction or quiet disappointment. You may feel that people are drawn to you not necessarily because they truly love you, but because of what you can offer, your abilities, your resources, your usefulness. And because of this, you may have experienced a pattern where, at the beginning, you give a lot, fully, passionately, wholeheartedly. But over time, you don't receive the same level of energy back, and that creates disappointment. So you start holding yourself back, telling yourself not to expect too much. Some of you may even question your relationships. Does my family truly love me unconditionally? Are my friendships really so deep? Is my romantic connection truly aligned? And this isn't coming from negativity or suspicion. It's actually a very valid response to imbalances in effort, emotional depth, pacing, or needs. But what I'm seeing here is a kind of confusion and helplessness when it comes to relationships. Because it's not like these connections are toxic. You do feel genuine bonds. But at the same time, something just doesn't feel fully comfortable. There are differences in communication styles, emotional needs, timing and pacing, ways of thinking. And because of that, something always feels like it's missing. A very common example could be generational differences, but some of you may feel this even in friendships and romantic relationships. Now, the Emperor here is very interesting. It shows that in the material world, you actually hold a lot of strength, structure, and authority. So in relationships, you often become the one who leads. And because of that, you also carry an internal standard or framework for what a relationship should look like, sometimes even unconsciously. And when reality doesn't match that framework, you feel uncertain, uncomfortable, disappointed, like something is lacking. There's also a subtle hint of control here. The Two of Cups reminds us that true alignment doesn't mean being identical. It means mutual appreciation and emotional equality. If one person is above the other, even if you are the one in control, you will still feel unfulfilled. For some of you, the energy could be reversed. You may feel dependent or controlled instead. But either way, this combination is emphasizing mutuality, equality, and independence within relationships. So, the identity you are outgrowing is one where you are either over-responsible or overly dependent in relationships. Now let's look at the new identity that is forming for you. We have Eight of Wands and Eight of Swords. We also have Seven of Wands as the underlying energy. Alright, Group 1, you can expect a lot of unexpected yet exciting shifts to coming in within this new identity. This energy feels like a sudden breakthrough, almost like breaking free from mental and structural limitations. If the Emperor represents rules, order, and control, then this new version of you is liberating yourself from those constraints. If you used to carry everything because you were afraid of things falling apart, now I see you becoming surprisingly detached and free. You are starting to realize what you were afraid of may never actually happen, and even if it does, so what? You are no longer trying to control everything. You are no longer overextending yourself. And this doesn't mean you are becoming cold or indifferent. It simply means that when you're always the one giving more, it's natural to expect equal return. So instead of enforcing order in relationships, you are stepping back and focusing on your inner balance first. And here's the beautiful part. You're not giving up on relationships. You're actually becoming more curious about them. Instead of forcing a perfect relationship, you are now observing. How do others show up? What are their needs? How do they respond? How is their pace different from mine? It's like before, relationships had unspoken rules, but now you are removing those rules and choosing to observe, feel, and reassess. There's a kind of relaxed energy around you now, but at the same time, a strong inner core. You may appear easygoing on the outside, but internally, you are very grounded and clear. And most importantly, you are no longer tying your identity to relationships. You won't see yourself as flawed just because something ends, and you won't overcredit yourself when something goes well. You are also becoming curious about yourself. Maybe my idea of an ideal relationship needs to evolve. The Eight of Wands and the Seven of Wands shows unexpected sparks with new people, and the Eight of Swords and the Seven of Wands ask for radical honesty with yourself and others, because honesty brings clarity. Finally, let's look at how you step into this new identity. We have the High Priestess and the Queen of Cups. At the bottom of the deck, we have Three of Wands. First of all, I highly recommend Group 1 explore spiritual practices, and if you're already doing that, this is confirmation that you are on the right path. You are naturally intuitive, sensitive, and sincere. You have a strong connection to lunar energy, so your emotional and personal state may be influenced by moon cycles. Earlier we talked about curiosity towards yourself, and here comes the High Priestess. You may think you already know yourself well, but she's holding a locked box, which tells me there are still hidden parts of you wanting to be discovered. There is a personal truth or secret within you, and your inner High Priestess is inviting you to open it. And yes, this requires courage because it asks for complete honesty with yourself. Now, the Queen of Cups gives us the method. You unlock this by understanding your emotions. But be careful. Understanding emotion doesn't mean amplifying them. In practice, it's very easy to get too confused. The Queen of Cups shows us how to do this well. Become your own emotional guide, your own counselor. It's like saying, I have a friend named Sandra, and she's going through something in her relationships. Let's explore what's really happening. At the same time, naming your emotions clearly helps you not be overwhelmed by them. For example, let's say, I feel anxious because I didn't receive a reply. The moment you say it clearly, the emotions no longer controls you. It becomes something you can face directly. And the Three of Wands tells me this is the beginning of a new adventure. Your new identity is someone who takes risks, steps outside the rules, doesn't limit themselves. If there is something you've been wanting to do but holding back because of your role, responsibility, or expectations, this is your sign to go for it, because those experiences will help you discover who you truly are. Your oracle card is Third Chakra. This is our solar plexus chakra. It's all about confidence, personal power, and desire. It's encouraging you to go after what you truly want, because in this process, you come alive. And this also helps shift your focus away from over-investing in relationships and more towards your own growth and expansion. You can also call upon Archangel Chamuel for support and guidance. Okay, wishing all the best to those who chose Group 1, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello Group 2, welcome to your reading. First, let's take a look at the identity you are currently shedding. We have Eight of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands, with the Tower as the underlying energy. Wow, this is very intense and heavy combination. I can also feel a kind of suppressed anger here, like a voice deep inside you saying, I've had enough. Some of you may even push your body to the point of exhaustion, maybe health issues, burnout, or being forced to stop because the pressure became too much. And even if it hasn't reached that level, I still need to say this very clearly. You have been overworking yourself, even exploiting yourself. And I'm not saying this to blame you. I'm saying this so we can gently and honestly face this together. No matter where this pressure comes from, work, family, relationships, or even the image you want to present to the world, you've been tying your self-worth to whether or not you achieve certain goals. For example, we could say, only if I reach this title am I respectable. Only if I reach this weight am I beautiful. Only if I'm with this person is my life complete. Because of these beliefs, you pushed yourself relentlessly, and if you feel like you haven't worked hard enough, you don't just stop. You mentally punish yourself and then push even harder in reality. You've been measuring your value by how much you can endure, how much you can sacrifice, how far you can push yourself. And honestly, this makes sense. We've been told that. Success requires pain, strength is built through hardship, and the results must be visible and measurable. But here's the truth. Without inner strength, no matter how much you achieve externally, it will always feel unstable, just like the tower. Because internally, something doesn't feel solid. So even when you achieve something, it still doesn't feel like enough. You may feel insecure, unsure without external validation, afraid that if you stop, everything might fall apart. But true strength is not built through constant pressure. True strength is inner stability. True powerful people, especially in chaotic situations, become even more calm, not more frantic. Think about it this way. Some entrepreneurs go through failure, lose everything, and even go into debt. But their rhythm doesn't collapse. They don't destroy their health because they understand they are the source of their own value. But for many people, especially early in their careers, there's this tendency to trade health for progress. Yes, maybe money is earned, but the cost is long-term damage. And sure, some people can recover later. But for those of you who chose Group 2, if you are really honest with yourself, you know this isn't sustainable. Overextending yourself can truly drain you completely. So, the identity you are growing is someone who needs to overwork to feel worthy, someone who only feels safe when constantly pushing, someone who believes value must be proven through timelines and achievements. And the tower shows that this identity is collapsing. This might show up as you suddenly losing motivation, feeling disconnected from everything, no longer able to do things you used to do easily, even physically struggling to get out of bed. This is not failure. This is you shedding an identity that once felt familiar, but is no longer serving you. Like a snake shedding its skin, you are going through a quiet yet intense transformation. Next, let's look at a new identity that is forming. We have the King of Pentacles and Knight of Wands. We also have the Chariot as the underlying energy. This is beautiful. Your new identity is not the opposite of who you were. It's an upgrade. You are keeping your natural discipline and resilience, but instead of being overused or drained, these strengths are now being used wisely. You are learning to set clear and healthy boundaries, make decisions based on long-term sustainability, approach your goals with strategy and intention. In the past, when you had a goal, you may have tried to achieve it by pushing yourself harder and harder. But now, you are shifting into a more dynamic, creative, and efficient approach. You are creating opportunities, not just forcing outcomes. The Chariot shows clarity of direction, alignment between your heart and mind, and most importantly, control over your own life. Before, it's like you wanted to reach a destination, but you were not the one driving. You tried to prove your value to others, hoping they would take you where you wanted to go. But now, you are the one holding the steering wheel. And not only that, you might even choose your own unique path, your own way of getting there. Now you might wonder, am I being too impulsive? But the King of Pentacles is here to reassure you. Your decisions are not reckless. They come from vision, awareness, and self-trust. You understand your resources, you know how to use your strength, and most importantly, you know what brings you joy. This journey energizes you. The Knight of Wands and the Chariot also gives off a very interesting energy. You may appear to others as if you are becoming younger, not because of appearance, but because of your energy, vitality, and presence. People can feel your momentum, your spark, and your charisma. This is a very powerful shift. Finally, let's look at how you step into this new identity. We have Justice in reverse and the Six of Wands in reverse. We also have the Four of Swords as the underlying energy. Just like we said earlier, this transformation is both quiet and intense, and this is exactly how it's happening. Justice in reverse is about correction and realignment. Especially with the King of Pentacles here, you are being asked to stop avoiding your own truth. If there are moments where you haven't been honest with yourself, this is where you change that. You are not allowed to give away your inner authority anymore. Now, this doesn't mean ignoring others' opinions, but it does mean you don't betray your value just to fit in. You don't overcommit when you're already overwhelmed. You don't measure your worth based on others' expectations, because all of that is giving your power away. During this transformation, you are being guided to step away from rigid right versus wrong thinking, and instead tune into your inner feelings. Ask yourself, was I honoring myself in this decision? If not, This is where you gently correct it. The Six of Wands in reverse brings a question here. All the effort you've put in, was it truly for yourself? Or was it, in some way, a performance? A way of getting recognition, approval, or applause? Was success something you embodied or something you wore like a costume? Because true success is not something given by the outside world. It is something that already exists within you. And when you truly accept that, you begin to create from that place. What you manifest becomes an extension of who you are, not something you chase or borrow. I can see that you are stripping away the noise, the pressure and the illusion, and are returning to your true self. Your path forward becomes lighter, freer, and more authentic. You will pursue what you want, not out of pressure, but out of alignment. Your oracle card is the Sun. This is absolutely perfect for today's theme. The Sun represents rebirth, vitality, and creation. Your new self is being born. And yes, there is something to look forward to. As you complete this transformation, you will step into new opportunities, new beginnings, a vibrant, fulfilling life. I love this spread. Wishing all the best to those who chose Group 2. I'll see you in the next reading. Hello Group 3, welcome to your reading. First, let's take a look at the identity you are currently shedding. We have the World and the Ace of Cups. The underlying energy is Three of Cups. Okay, the first thing I want to make very clear is this. Your old identity is not something negative. This transition feels more like a graduation. You have completed a cycle. You have learned the lesson you were meant to learn, fulfilled your role, and gained the experiences and achievements that came with it. So now, you are ready to move on. For some of you, this literally feels like graduating from university and stepping into society. And even if that's not your exact situation, the energy is very similar. Your past cycle felt relatively comfortable and stable. Even when there were challenges, you always managed to get through them. And because your past wasn't bad, there's a part of you that wants to stay there. You might find yourself thinking, I wish life could just stay simple. I want to stay around the people I'm familiar with. This feels like moving from your personal comfort zone into a larger, more expansive world. And while you do feel some excitement about the future, there's also a strong sense of nostalgia. You may naturally be someone who is sentimental, someone who values familiarity. And the more familiar something is, the more you cherish it. This is actually one of your strengths. You're very good at building deep, long-lasting connections. But at the same time, it can also make you resistant to new opportunities. What I'm seeing here is that stepping into the next phase will not make you feel empty. In fact, it's the opposite. As the world expands, your capacity to love and connect also expands. This is not a story of painful growth. This is a story of growth bringing richer experiences and more joyful connections. For some of you, it feels like you used to operate more independently, but now you are being drawn back into community and shared experiences. Or maybe your life used to be quiet and simple, and now it's becoming more vibrant, social, and full of human connection. Next, let's look at the new identity that is forming. We have the Two of Wands and the Knight of Cups. The underlying energy we have here is the Ace of Swords. This is a beautiful shift. Your life is moving from a slower, more static pace into something more dynamic and emotionally guided. The Two of Wands shows that, deep down, you do feel a sense of restlessness. You want to see more of the world and you want something more expansive. But sometimes you hesitate because of those what if something goes wrong thoughts. And because your current life is already good enough, it feels safer to stay where you are, even if it's no longer helping you grow. But what I really love here is the Knight of Cups. This is movement, but it's movement guided by your heart. And combined with the Ace of Cups earlier, this confirms what we said. Your growth is not about a struggle. It's about following what feels right. Just like before, you will continue to follow your heart, but in each stage of life, what aligns with your heart will evolve. So you are graduating from one cycle and moving into the next, to continue exploring and nurturing yourself. The Knight of Cups doesn't rush, but it doesn't stand still either. You move forward at a pace that feels comfortable and enjoyable to you. You may still carry some doubts, but you continue walking toward what calls you, and along the way, you begin to feel more and more joy, ease, and emotional fulfillment. That becomes your feedback loop. It builds your confidence, it nourishes you, and so you keep going calmly and naturally. This is not a push yourself to the limit kind of life path. It's more like flowing with music or gliding forward effortlessly. Now I know, follow your heart can sometimes feel vague. How do you know it's not just impulsiveness? That's where the Ace of Swords comes in. This is your confirmation. You are not being reckless. You are clear and aware. With the Two of Wands, you understand both what you desired and uncertainties ahead. So your actions are not impulsive. They are conscious, thoughtful choices. And finally, let's look at how you step into this new identity. We have Page of Pentacles and the Empress. At the bottom of the deck, we have Seven of Swords. I'm sensing that one reason you might have delayed entering this new phase is because you believed it would be difficult. You might have thought it would take too much effort, too much time, maybe it's just easier to stay where I am. And honestly, that way of thinking is not wrong. If staying where you are truly feels aligned and fulfilling, there's no need to force change. But if you are here watching this reading, then something in you is resonating. So let's be honest with ourselves. There is part of you that wants to grow and explore more. Yes, a new cycle does require you to return to a beginner's mindset, to stay open, curious, to be willing to do things hands-on again. And from the outside, that might look tedious or effortful, but if you approach it with curiosity, the process actually becomes joyful. The feeling of struggle doesn't come from the work itself, it comes from resisting the process of growth. When we resist growth, we want fast results, and the journey in between it feels painful. But the true growth is not the end result. It is the entire process. And when you stop resisting it, the journey no longer feels heavy or long. Also, when we think of growth, we often focus on visible results, like the leaves of a plant. But what matters more is the roots. Even if nothing is visible on the surface, it doesn't mean nothing is happening. So if you have been putting effort but not seeing external results yet, pause and reflect, not based on outcomes, but based on your inner state. Ask yourself, have I grown? Have I learned something new? Am I more skilled than before? Do I understand things more deeply? Do I understand myself better? Do I like myself more? These are far more meaningful than external validation. Now I really love the combination of Page of Pentacles and the Empress, together with the Ace of Swords earlier. This is the energy of creation from one into everything. The Empress represents abundance, beauty, and fulfillment, someone who naturally attracts admiration. But if we rewind the timeline back to Page of Pentacles, how many people would admire the Page the same way they admire the Empress? Probably very few. But here's the key. The other person who needs to admire you is actually you. The Page is you, the Empress is you, and the observer of this entire journey is also you. Can you love yourself when you have nothing, the same way you would love yourself when you have everything? Can you admire yourself? Because the transformation from nothing to everything happens for one reason only. That's you. And the moment you can love yourself fully at any stage, that transformation is already happening. Even though this reading is timeless, right now we are in Aries season. So the energy here is about being honest, direct, and real with yourself. The oracle card we have here is the Thinker. This suggests that your new identity will involve a lot of learning, reflection, and insight. You may embody both roles, like student and teacher at the same time. The people who guide you will feel like role models, and your path will revolve around wisdom and a deep understanding. Okay, wishing all the best to those who chose Group 3, and I'll see you in the next reading.